Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing very well. Well, in today's session, we'll be starting with the second chapter from your syllabus, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. I hope you are familiar with the term Nelson Mandela. So, before starting the lesson, just let me give you a brief introduction to the chapter that what we are going to read in this chapter. So, basically, this lesson is an extract from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. All right, and in this lesson there are certain scenarios, certain circumstances, certain difficulties, hardships that Nelson Mandela had to face to achieve freedom for South Africa, not just for himself but for the people for his community that he belonged to the blacks. All right, so this lesson is based on apartheid system, that how he managed to remove that apartheid system. I hope you are familiar with the term apartheid. Somewhere in the social science, you come have across this term apartheid system. Actually, it was a political system that used to separate people on the basis of their color, creed, or you could say race. All right, and blacks were deprived or were oppressed by the white supremacy under that system, apartheid system. So without wasting much of the time, it's a long chapter. Let's start with the lesson. All right, on the right hand corner you could see the glossary. The meanings of the typical words are given, so that would be convenient for you also. Okay, let's start. Okay, one thing more, those who are having the books, while we are going through the lesson, just take a pencil or a pen in your hand so that you could mark the answers, the highlighted topics when we go through the lesson. Later on, that would be convenient for you to frame the answers in your own language. Okay, first paragraph. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days I had been pleasantly besieged. Besieged is surrounded by someone close, by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. Now, in this paragraph, in this extract, Nelson Mandela is telling about the day he was to vow or had to take a pledge as a first black president of South Africa. All right, that was the inauguration ceremony of, and for that purpose, certain of the dignitaries, representatives of certain of the other countries, international leaders, they had come across, they had gathered for the first time on the South African soil, and that was a very big thing for a black president. And the day was of 10th May. The date was 10th of May. All right. Second paragraph. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by the Union buildings of Pretoria. Underline this thing. The ceremonies, that inauguration ceremonies that had to be taken in the lovely amphitheater formed by the Union buildings of Pretoria. That was the place where that inauguration ceremony was to be held. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of the rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic, non racial government. Okay. So in this paragraph he had said that earlier that amphitheater used to be under the rule of a white regime. White supremacy used to sit over there and rule over the blacks. But now on, but today, after the decades, that seat has that site had got colored because of the installation of South Africa's democratic as well as non-racial government. Because okay, one thing more, different colors and nations. What's the meaning of this? That people belonging to different races, different colors have gathered over there. All right. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani, underline name of the daughter of Nelson Mandela, Zenani. On the podium, Mr. underline highlight this thing. Mr. Clerk, Mr. D. Clerk was first sworn in as the second deputy president, underline. Mr. D. Clerk, along with Nelson Mandela, when Nelson Mandela was to take pledge as the first president, black president of South Africa, Mr. De Klerk was sworn just before him as the second deputy president. All right. Then after that, Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. All right. So these two candidates, Mr. De Klerk, he was sworn as the deputy president of South Africa, and Mr. Thabo Mbeki was sworn as the first deputy president of South Africa just before the pledge of Nelson Mandela. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey, underline this thing. I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and devote my life to the well-being of the Republic and its people. So that was the pledge that he had taken, Nelson Mandela. He pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution. He took a pledge to obey by the Constitution of South Africa. To the assembled guests and watching world, I said, now in this paragraph, this phrase, this is the speech. So you might be getting some long question on this. In this paragraph, this is the speech actually that Nelson Mandela delivered to all the dignitaries that had gathered over the South African soil for the very first time when he took pledge as a first black president of South Africa. This is the speech in these paragraphs. Okay, what he said in his speech, let us go through that. Today, all of us, all those people, including Nelson Mandela, those who had gathered onto that South African soil, by our presence here, confer glory. On the right hand corner, meanings are also given. Confer glory and hope to newborn liberty out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. We who were outlaws, we who were outlaws, who are these? On the right hand corner you could see many countries had earliest broken off the diplomatic relation with South Africa. Nelson Mandela is addressing to all those dignitaries of the different countries that because of certain of the diplomatic relations we had been deprived of our relations to carry on. So we who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is after all a common victory for justice, peace and human dignity. We have at last achieved our political emancipation What is emancipation? Freedom from anything that's been restricted. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from continuing bondage of poverty, deprivations, suffering, gender, and many other discriminations. Never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will ever experience the oppression of one by another. The sun has the sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement, and let the freedom reign. God bless Africa. So, in this, what he had said, he discussed in his speech about the past, about the present, and also about the future of South Africa. He focused on an incredible human disaster that had took place in South Africa. All right. Moreover, he had pointed towards the apartheid system. And what was that? It was a system that used to discriminate amongst the people basis on their race or their color. He also promised that he would be free, that he would free his people from all sort of discriminations, and moreover, what he had said, that never ever again it shall be there that this beautiful land, which beautiful land, this land of South Africa, will ever again uh, ex- ever experience such an oppression of one by the other. All right, so let's get going. A few moments later, so this in this paragraph, what is there, the current scenario, what was there on that inauguration ceremony, what was the happenings of that, the scenes are being discussed in these paragraphs. Oh, okay. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in. Okay, you can mark these lines, you can there could be a long question on this also. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers rode in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of military's loyalty towards the democracy, to the new formed government that have been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, the highest generals of the South African Defence Force and police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would have saluted but arrested me. Finally, a chevron. What is a chevron? Meaning is given a pattern in the shape of V. Any pattern that is in the shape of a V shape of Impala jets left a smoke trail of black, red, and blue, gold of the new African flag. So, in this, the scenario was discussed that there was a spectacular display of jets, South African jets and helicopters rode in perfect formation over them in the sky. It was also you could say, demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy and to the new formed government that's been elected fairly. Then two national anthems were also played after that we are going to read in the next paragraph. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of two national anthems. Alright, on that inauguration ceremony, there were two national anthems played. Just keep this thing in mind. And the vision of whites singing Kosi Kill Africa and blacks singing Die Stem. So these were the names of the two national anthems that were being sung by the whites as well as the blacks. The old anthem of the republic, and the Die Stem was the old anthem of the republic. Although that they neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem, but they would soon know the words by heart on that very day, because they had just come out from that oppression. No one knew about the actual meaning of the words that they were singing, but according to Nelson Mandela, soon they would be knowing the meanings, the words by heart. Okay, I hope that was clear to you. So, moving on to the next paragraph. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. Okay, now in this paragraph, a bit of the history touch is being discussed by Nelson Mandela. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade, alright, underline, you could also underline, in the first decade of the 20th century, a few years later, after a bitter Anglo Boer War and before my own birth, the white skinned people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial dominance or discrimination uh, against the dark skinned people, against the black skinned people. The structure they had created formed the basis of one of the hardest, harshest, most inhuman societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century and my own eighth decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever and placed by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples regardless of the color of their skin. Now, in this paragraph, the history of Africa that's been discussed by Nelson Mandela from his point of view. What he says in this paragraph, Nelson Mandela was overwhelmed with a sense of history. A few years after the according to Nelson Mandela, a few years after Anglo-Boer War, apartheid was introduced into South Africa by the white supremacy. The society based on racial discrimination was the harshest, according to Nelson Mandela, and most inhuman in the world. And now, a new system based on the equality of all men, regardless of their color, creed, or race, has replaced the old and the cruel system. All right, moving on. That day, I'm heading with this paragraph. That day had come about. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of people whose sufferings and uh, courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day as I have on so those Africans on so many other days, that I had simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended with, and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them, and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. What's the meaning of wrought? Had achieved. Okay, so in this paragraph, Nelson Mandela had mentioned certain of the war heroes that had also played their role in the long walk to freedom of South Africa. Okay, now the policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from the profound hurt, but the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, that it was that it had produced the Oliver Tambo's. Okay, these are the names of the war heroes that had played their roles in the long walk to freedom before Nelson Mandela. So, in these two paragraphs, this one and this one, Nelson Mandela had mentioned about the war heroes that he had learnt the meaning of courage from such brave comrades. Uh, Courage is, according to Nelson Mandela, courage is the victory over fear, and these comrades were ready to risk and sacrifice their lives for an idea. The idea of first idea was of freedom, and second is of equality. And even in the according to Nelson Mandela, darkest prisons, their hopes and faith were not even broken. All right, and they, moreover, they never allowed the flame of struggle, you could say, not to extinguish from their inner souls. So in these two paragraphs, we discussed about the certain of the war heroes that also played their role into the struggle for freedom of South Africa. Okay, okay. Men of such extraordinary courage and wisdom and generosity like may never be again. Perhaps it requires such depth of operation to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil. Okay, underline. My country is rich in minerals and gems that lie just beneath its soil, but I have always known uh, that its greater wealth is its people, finer, truer than the purest diamonds. Now, in this paragraph, okay, what according to Nelson Mandela, what he says that uh, there is no scarcity of gems in his country, but his most precious stones are his own people, the black people that were being oppressed so far. He has learnt that absence of fear is not courage, actually, that is rather the triumph of over it, you could say. According to him, if people are taught to hate others, they could also be taught to love others. All right. Okay, moving on. It is from these comrades now, which comrades the Nelson Mandela has mentioned over all those that we have come across. Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Lithulu, Yusuf Dadu, those were the names. Okay, you can read the names along with the pictures that's been given uh, over here on the previous page. These all about these comrades Nelson Mandela had given a reference. Okay, it is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience. What's the meaning of resilience? Resistance, the ability to deal with any sort of hardship or difficulty. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph of over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear that we have discussed just now. Okay, moving on. No one is born. Okay, so this is the opinion, this is the perspective of Nelson Mandela, that no one is born hating another person because of the color of the skin or his background or anything, either that is race or religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can also be taught to love. So that was the opinion of Nelson Mandela, that if people are taught to hate others, they can be taught to love others also. Okay, so even in the grimmest times in prison, when my companions, and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden that can be hidden but never be extinguished. So that was the perspective, that was the point of view of Nelson Mandela, that if someone can be taught to hate some other person, that person could also be taught to love also. All right. Okay, moving on. In life, every man has, okay, there's a, definitely there will be a long question on this. In every man's life there are twin obligations. What are obligations? You could say obligations are the, we can write it, the moral duties towards someone, moral duties. Okay. Okay, according to Nelson Mandela, there are twin obligations in every man's life. Obligations or duties to his family, his parents, his wife and children, and he has this was the first obligation, that is the duties, the responsibilities, the obligations towards the family. Family includes parents, wife or children, everyone. And the second obligation, second responsibility is towards the people of his community, his country. So that was the twin obligation, two responsibilities that every man has to face some or the other day in his or her life. Okay, moving on. In a civil and humane societies, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations. What are inclination? Natural tendency of behavior. According to their behavior, every man is able to choose among those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill those obligations. Okay, according to Nelson Mandela, every man has twin obligation in his or her life at one or the other point throughout the life. But in countries like South Africa, that was never possible. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duties to his people was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live life apart. And that was a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but so what, from those two obligations, from those two responsibilities, what Nelson Mandela chose? So this could be a long question. But in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, a brother, a father, or as a husband. Okay, I was born with a hunger to be free. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way that I could know, free to run in the fields near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear streams of water through my that used to run through my village, free to roast mealies under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of the tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of the man and God. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an just nothing more an illusion. What is illusion? Something that appears to be real but actually it is not. When I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself. As a student, I wanted freedom just for myself. The transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased and go where I choose. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family. Family, the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. So, in these paragraphs, according to Nelson Mandela, every individual has two obligations, two responsibilities through that he or she has to come across one or the other time in the life. So one is towards his family and another is towards his community, or you could say nation. And Nelson Mandela realizes that during his long walk to freedom, he had to leave his family behind. He had to choose the second obligation, the responsibility towards his community and the nation, and he had to leave his family behind somewhere. Moreover, he also remembers that his feeling for freedom were not inherited since childhood. All right, as he grew older, he came to know that not only he but also the members of his family or his neighbors and you could say his community were leashed and not free. Then he started his struggle for actual actually at that time he started his struggle for freedom. In easy words, if we are to summarize this thing, that the meaning of freedom changed with the passage of time for Nelson Mandela. All right, so let's get going. But then I slowly saw that not only I was not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed. What's the meaning of curtailed? Reduced. But the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. That means the freedom of every individual who looked black, just like Nelson Mandela, that's been oppressed by the white supremacy according to the apartheid system. That is when I joined the African National Congress. So the meanings of you could say freedom changed for Nelson Mandela, and later on, when meaning of with the passage of time, when the meaning of freedom changed for Nelson Mandela, he decided to join African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for freedom of my own people became the greater hunger for the freedom. Okay, next, it was the desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity, self respect that animated my life, that transformed a frightening young man into a bold one, that drove a law abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family loving husband into a man without home. So these lines could be added to the sacrifices that Nelson Mandela had to face during his long walk to freedom. You can mark this line. I am no more virtuous of self-sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. Freedom is indivisible. The chains of on any one of us or my people were on the chains of all of them, and the chains on all of my people were the chains on me. So that was the perspective, that was the point of view that changed with the passage of his time. Okay, and his hunger for freedom also changed. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed one. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and a narrow mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom. Just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is not taken from me, the oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. Next is okay, that was the lesson. In these paragraphs, these that we have just gone, the sacrifices that Mandela had to face and his decision to join the African National Congress has been discussed. And Mandela realized, so just let me summarize. Mandela just realized that not only he was deprived of his freedom, but his fellows, his brothers, sisters were also deprived of freedom. All right, in these paragraphs. That was why he joined the African National Congress. It was his desire for the freedom of his people and their self respect that totally transformed him from a lawyer, from a young weak man to a bold man, a lawyer to become an outlaw or a criminal. And moreover, he also realized that freedom is indivisible, that we have just read, that freedom is indivisible. He knew the oppressed must be liberated. That was the opinion point of view, that was the perspective of Nelson Mandela, that the oppressor must be liberated from such an oppression, and the oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. And whoever is being oppressed, that is just like getting robbed of their humanity, and both of them must be liberated, both the oppressor as well as the one that is being oppressed, both are to be liberated. So that was the chapter in which Nelson Mandela had discussed about the past, present, as the future also from his point of view. So I hope that was clear to you. So that would be all for today's session. In the next session, we'll be heading with the next chapter. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.